Hi, I'm Kim, and I am so glad you're joining me here today in beautiful Cancun, Mexico. We have the trickling water behind us, as well as the ocean waves, the sound of the birds, and so I'd love for you to join me in floor yoga, where we will do a total body stretch. So let's get going. We're gonna make our way down to the floor. If the floor isn't for you, you can grab a chair and do many of the postures in the chair, and I'll guide you. So let's make our way down to the floor. We're gonna separate our feet nice and wide, and then we'll bring both hands onto our thigh, reach down towards the floor with one hand, drop one knee down, bring our other hand down, and then both knees, and come to a seated position, whatever that feels right in your body today. So if you're seated in a chair, you're just gonna lengthen the spine, sit up nice and tall, relax your hands in your lap. We're just gonna take a few centering breaths to start this practice. So gently close the eyes and start to invite your breath into the nose a little more fully. Lengthening the inhale and the exhale. You just notice the rise and fall of the chest, the expansion of the lungs, and really increasing the inhale through the nose and a nice deep exhale through the mouth. Let's bring our hands to heart center. And you can take a moment to bow the mind to the heart and set an intention for your practice today. And gently open the eyes, release the hands. Let's start with our fingertips out to the side. If you are sitting in a chair, you can grab onto the side of the chair. And we're just gonna do a little bit of a warm up with our shoulders and cervical spine to start. So we'll start to roll the shoulders back and down, the spine. Again, you can hold on to the side of the chair if you're seated. And just allowing the body to move in any way that feels good to warm up for this practice. Just a couple more times. Noticing your breath entering and leaving your nose if that's comfortable. And one more time around. Relax the hands at the side or holding onto a chair. We're just going to turn our head to look over the right shoulder. So turning the head, look over the right shoulder, then back to center, over to the left shoulder, and back to center. We're going to do that a few more times. Look over the right shoulder, and back to center, over the left shoulder, and back to center. This time we'll take our right ear and bring it over to the right shoulder. So just relax the head with no effort, just tilting the head so that the right ear moves towards the right shoulder, opening up the left side of the neck. And come back to center. Let's try the other side, left ear to left shoulder, just relaxing with very little effort. Let your head feel very heavy. And bring it back to center. And then just roll the shoulders a few more times back. And relax. So we can bring our fingertips out to the side, holding onto the chair, or we can bring our fingertips to touch our shoulders. And we're gonna open up the side body now, just moving in a little bit of a lateral motion. If you're seated in a chair, take your left hand and hold on to the side of the chair. And we can bring both hands to shoulders, or if you're seated on the ground, you can also bring your left hand down to the ground, whatever feels right for your body today. And we're just gonna tilt over to the side, stretching the whole side body. Take a deep breath here into the ribs. Exhale to soften. Again, inhale up. Exhale back to center. Let's try the other side. This time, if you're in a chair, you can drop your right hand down or on the floor, or both hands onto the shoulders, and take it over to the right this time. Take a deep breath into the ribs. Expand and then exhale. Let's do it again. Inhale, expand. And exhale, drop both shoulders down. Relax the hands all the way down. We're gonna move into a gentle twist. If you're seated in a chair, you can keep your right hand on your left knee. Same if you're seated on the ground. And then we're gonna reach back with our left hand. If you're in a chair, you can grab onto the chair actually. And if it feels good for your cervical spine, you can look over your left shoulder. Relax the shoulders away from the ears into this gentle twist. And we're gonna keep the upper body and hands exactly where they are. We're just gonna look over the front shoulder to open up the neck a little bit. Relax the shoulders away from the ears, soften the jaw. And just take a few breaths here in this gentle twist. And slowly unwind. Let's try the other side. So this time, left hand over to right knee. You can reach back behind you or grab onto the chair. And if it feels good for your cervical spine, look over the back shoulder. Drop the shoulders away from the ears and just take a few breaths here. Nice inhale and exhale. And gently unwind. Excellent. Relax the shoulders, roll them back. Let everything go today. We're starting fresh. So we're gonna move into a little stretch. I'm gonna move towards the back of my mat and extend my legs out in front. So if you're seated in a chair, you can just sit up nice and tall with feet planted on the floor, scoot forward all the way towards the front edge of your chair. For us that are seated on the floor, we can separate our feet a little bit from right to left and keep the knees bent so the knees are soft. That takes any tension out of the low back and the hamstrings. We'll either grab onto the backs of the thighs, or if you're seated in a chair, you can grab onto the sides of the chair. And we're gonna start to fold forward over the chair, over our legs, wherever we are today, tucking the chin. And just a small fold here. Just relaxing, feeling very supported, so hands are either on the thighs or on the ground. And then inhale to come all the way up. Very good. So let's slowly bring the feet towards each other so the knees fall out to the side in a diamond shape. If you're seated in a chair, you can just bring your knees a little bit wider. Feet are planted on the ground. We're gonna do the same thing. Grab onto the shins or grab onto the side of the chair or thighs, wherever feels good for you. Sit up nice and tall, lengthen your belly, and then extend and fold forward. Take a couple of breaths here. So we're opening up the inner thigh. Some of us may feel it a little bit on the outer thigh here if we are having our legs extended further away. So just noticing and taking a few breaths into any tension. And then slowly make the way back up. Nice. Let's extend the legs all the way out. Shake the legs out. Good. If you're seated, you can just shake your legs out. And then we're going to plant our hands back behind us. So if you are in a chair, you can sit up nice and tall and even grab onto the chair back behind us. For us on the ground, fingertips point towards the body. We'll bend the knees and plant the feet. And then just roll the shoulders back, open up the chest, take a deep breath into our front body. Inhale right into our heart center. Exhale to soften. Do it again. Inhale. And exhale. Great. And then just relax the legs. You can stay where you are. I'm going to face forward. So we're going to open up in between the shoulders a little bit. Oftentimes we hold a lot of tension right in between our shoulders and shoulder blades, and so we'll open up that space right now. Let's have the arms straight out to the side. Hands are a little bit lower than the shoulders. And we're gonna cross our left arm over our right arm so we connect elbow to elbow. And then you can just grab opposite shoulders. So from here, we'll feel like our elbows are pressing towards each other. And then we're gonna lift the elbows up a little bit and then press them towards each other and maybe tuck the chin, feeling a nice opening in between the shoulder blades. Take a deep breath here. Exhale. If you want a little bit more sensation, you can lift the elbows up and then press them together again. Take a nice inhale here. And exhale, release all the way down. Nice job. Roll the shoulders back for a moment. Let's try the opposite side. So arms extend all the way out. Let's take that right elbow, cross it over the left elbow, and just grab opposite shoulders. Good. And then connect the elbows with each other. We're going to press the elbows towards each other, and then we're going to lift the elbows up just a little bit, tuck the chin, and open up in between the shoulder blades. Take a deep breath here. And exhale. One more deep breath in. And exhale, release all the way down. Roll the shoulders back, releasing any tension. Good. We're gonna make our way to hands and knees. So if you're seated in a chair, you can stay right where you are, sitting up nice and tall. We're gonna lean over the side, sweep both legs out back behind us, and have our chest and hands facing down towards the earth. And then slowly make our way up to hands and knees. So from here, we'll take that left foot and curl the toes and extend the leg all the way back. So if you're seated in a chair, you can extend the leg forward out in front of you. That's the left leg. So from here, belly lifts up. Our bodies are nice and strong. We're pushing into the hands. And then we're pushing down and forward to allow our calf to open up a little bit. So our toes are planted, opening up the calf. If your leg is extended out in front in a seated posture, you can flex your toes up towards the sky to open up your calf. And just stay here for a few breaths. You can tuck the chin to lengthen the back of the neck and look down towards your hands if you'd like. Keep the back of the head strong, belly lifted to support your low back. And then we'll plant both knees or both feet if you're seated and pause for a moment. Let's try the other side. So this time we'll take that right leg straight back, curl the toes, connect with the ground, or extend that leg forward if you're seated. Belly lifts in and up. And then we're gonna push into the hands and allow the heel to rock back. And if you're seated, flex the foot, pointing the toes up towards the sky. And staying here for just a few breaths, opening up the calf. And then release all the way down. Good. We're going to get into some movement for the hips, just to warm up the hips a little bit. So if you're seated, you can plant both feet, bring your hands out to the edges of the chair, and you can move your upper body around in a circle to warm up the hips. But if you're on hands and knees, we're going to shift both hips over to the right, sit back towards the right heel, shift over to the left, and then come back to hands and knees. So we're making our hips go around in a circle. Let's try it again. Shift your weight over to the right, sit back towards the right heel, shift over to the left, and back to hands and knees. We're going to do that to the rhythm of our own breath. So as we come to hands and knees, we'll inhale, and we'll exhale as we sit back towards the heel. So just a few more times around, exhaling as we sit back, inhaling hands and knees. If you need an extra cushion under your knees, feel free to use a blanket or a towel for support. We're just warming up the hips. When we do repetitive motions with any joint, first of all, we need to be extra careful, making sure that we're moving in a way that feels good for our bodies. But second of all, there's some great benefits to moving in a repetitive way because we send synovial fluid to the joint. That's the lubricating fluid for our joints. So it's very healthy and will help us to move better throughout the day. Let's go around one more time and come back to center. If you're seated, your body is back to center. Now we're gonna take it in the opposite way. So if you're seated, your body is gonna roll, upper body in circles going in the opposite direction. We'll shift our way over to the left, sit back towards the left heel, over to the right, and back to hands and knees. Let's do it again. Shift your way over to the left, sit back towards the left heel, over to the right, and back to hands and knees. Let's do it a few more times. Shift your weight, sitting back towards the heels, and coming back around. All right, and start to flow with the breath. Exhaling as we sit back, inhaling to hands and knees. And just a few more times around. Letting your body flow, let your neck feel relaxed, warming up the hip joint. This is a great thing to do first thing in the morning, just getting everything going. And we'll do it one more time around. And come back to center. So if you're seated in a chair, you can stay right where you are, feet are planted on the ground. For us, we're gonna take a moment to just relax the neck all the way down, tucking the chin. You can do that if you're seated. And just shake your head from side to side, relaxing and receiving anything that feels good for your body today. And coming back to center, we're gonna make our way all the way down onto our belly. So the way that we do that is we can come down onto forearms and then slowly extend our knees back and our legs back and lower all the way down onto the bellies. You can stay on your forearm. So if you're seated, what I'd love for you to do is reach back behind you to the back side of your chair to roll your shoulders and chest open. And you can stay there throughout this practice, just taking a few nice breaths into your heart center. For us on the floor, we're going to flatten the palms all the way down. The elbows are in front of the shoulders. Separate your feet. Give yourself a lot of space in the low back. And you can even roll your heels a little bit wider to release any tension in the low back. And then from here, feel like your elbows are dragging back. Take a deep breath here. Open up the front side of your body. Inhale. Exhale, release all the way down. Relax your forehead on the hands. If you're seated, just relax your arms along your side and pause for a moment. And just take a couple breaths here, letting go of any tension in the glutes or the low back. And let's try this one more time, coming up onto the forearms. Elbows are a little bit in front of the shoulders, palms face down. And feel like those elbows are dragging back. Roll the shoulders back. Good. If you're seated, you can grab onto the backs of the chair. And just take a few breaths here. And release all the way down. Stack the hands. Forehead comes down towards the earth. Roll the heels wide. Let go of any tension. Release the chair if you're seated and relax your hands along your side. Now we're going to make our way all the way over onto our back this time. So we'll maybe tuck the hand or arm underneath our head, slide our hips over to one another, and then slowly push our front hand and make our way all the way onto our back. You can plant your feet. If you're seated, stay right where you are. Knees are bent, feet flat on the floor, arms are along your side. And we're going to separate the feet nice and wide out to the edges of the mat. So both feet go wide. If you're seated, you can stay with your feet nice and wide as well. And then we're going to allow both knees to fall over to the left. If you're seated, you can twist towards the left and reach towards the back of your chair. Let your legs feel very heavy. Your shoulder blades are connected with the earth. Chest is up towards the sky. And just allow your whole upper body to relax. And just take a couple breaths here, just enjoying all the sounds around you. The trickling of the water. Maybe your own breath. And let's take one more deep breath here. Exhale. Inhale, knees come back to center. And pause for just a moment. So unwind if you're seated and just notice any differences from right to left. And we'll keep our feet nice and wide on the edges of the mat. This time we'll bring both knees over to the right side. And allow the legs to be very heavy. If you're seated, you can twist towards the right and grab onto the back of your chair. Let everything go. Your low belly, the shoulder blades are connected with the earth. And just take a few breaths here. Softening into this space. And slowly unwind. Plant both feet. Bring your feet back underneath your knees. And we're going to extend the legs all the way down below us. Separate the feet nice and wide off the edges of the mat. Again, if you're seated, you can separate the feet nice and wide. And we're just going to allow our left leg to come towards our right leg. So left leg moves all the way towards the right leg. Both legs are extended next to each other. And we're starting to make a C shape towards the left. So if you're seated, you can just keep your legs exactly where they are, but join us right now as we drop our left shoulder blades down towards the left foot. So we're starting to make that C shape, opening up the whole right side of the body. From the right ankle all the way up through the right shoulder, take a deep breath into the ribs, expand. Exhale here. Again, inhale, expand. Exhale. One more deep breath here. Exhale, relax both shoulder blades back to center. If you're laying on the floor, you can separate both feet nice and wide out to the edges of the mat. And relax the heels, just pause for a moment. Notice any differences from right to left. And then we'll do the opposite side this time. So if you're seated, stay right where you are. If you're laying down, bring your left leg to your right leg. Start to make a C shape towards the right, and then drop your right shoulder blade down towards the earth and down towards your right foot. Open up the whole left side of the body. Take a deep breath from your left ankle all the way up to your left armpit. Inhale. Exhale, soften the body. Inhale, expand the ribs. And exhale, soften. And let's slowly center the shoulder blades. Separate the feet from right to left nice and wide, and pause for just a moment. If you're seated, just relaxing in your seat. And then we're going to start to move into Shavasana, my favorite pose, which is resting pose. If you're laying on the floor, you can stay exactly where you are. If you're seated, you can just gently close your eyes, get into a comfortable seat. And we'll just rest in this posture for a few breaths, Gently closing the eyes and allow for this time to absorb all the beautiful energy you created in this practice. And just noticing the rise and fall of the chest, tuning into the rhythm of your heartbeat, and just taking this time for yourself. No one expects anything from you or wants anything from you. And just inviting the breath in naturally. And we'll start to wiggle the fingers and toes, moving the ankles and wrists to wake up the body. And you can move your body in any way that feels good for you. Gently opening the eyes. We'll hug the knees into the chest. If you're seated, you can stay right there or give yourself a nice hug. Make our way rolling over to one side. You can rest in the fetal position for just a moment, your head on your arm or on the floor. Knees are stacked. And then we'll take our top hand, push into the ground, and make our way all the way up to seated. And come to a comfortable seat. We're gonna finish with a little bit of breath work. So let's bring our hands on top of our heart, palm face down, one on top of the other. We're gonna gently close the eyes. Just take the next few breaths to expand our heart into our hands. So on an inhale, take a nice inhale through the nose if comfortable, lifting the heart up into the hands. And on an exhale, just notice the heart softening, relaxing. Let's do that again. Lengthen the breath, inhale, expanding the heart into the hands. And on an exhale, relaxing and softening. And a few more breaths just like that on your own, noticing the rise and fall of the chest. Feeling that expansive breath fill every inch of your being. And then start to relax your concentration. We'll bring our hands to heart center in a prayer-like pose. The thumbs are touching the heart. The heart pushes back into the thumbs. And take a moment to bow your mind to your heart. Thanking yourself for being here today, for showing up, for nurturing yourself and providing some self-care. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me here in beautiful Cancun, Mexico. We're gonna make our way all the way up to standing if you're not already. We'll shift our weight and hips over to one side and sweep our legs out to the side. Plant both hands and turn our chest down towards the ground. And then bring one foot forward. We'll keep one hand, opposite hand on the ground, and bring one hand onto our knee. Both hands onto our knee, curl the back toes, lift the back knee, and slowly rise all the way up. You are so wonderful for joining me here today in Cancun, Mexico, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. Thanks so much. Take care.